traveler. Paimon. It's been a long time.
Oh, hey, Hoishin. Long time no see. Fancy meeting you here. How's work these days?
Thanks to the help of people like you and colleagues like God. But I've been feeling... it's a long...
Huh? What?
Nothing specifically. He's always said, old age comes for us all in the... Anyway, my father's currently on the sec... He seems very fond of you, too. I'm...
Sure. Let's go. Uncle Tien, we're here to chat with you.
Oh? What a lovely surprise. Welcome. Hoishin, why don't... I heard that you've been traveling all over the place recently. I would very much like to hear your... Hoishin told you, didn't she? Don't worry. I'm quite all right. It's just... as I grow older, I'm starting to find that with many things... I am still very much in good standing as the Tianshu today.
How difficult is it to transfer the Tianshu?
Oh, well, you see, historically speaking, the Tianshu rarely appears in public. We also want to keep any prospective Tianshu candidates free from For these reasons, the incumbent Tianshu typically recommends their candidate of choice.
So in other words, you pick someone, and then Lady Keqing, Lady Ningguang, and the...
Correct. Unfortunately, due to my health. Not to despair, however, because I found someone exceptionally capable to...
Oh? Who is...
I'm heartbroken. I thought it might take you a little longer than this.
It's Yelan!
Jackpot. Uncle Tien here asked me to assess 3 candidates for him. Fancy joining me? You'll be among the first to get to know the next Tianshu.
What do you think? Paimon thinks so too. It can't be a bad thing to be on good terms with...
All right then. Though, I gotta say, Uncle Tien, you say you're into behind-the-scenes planning? My work's of the covert variety too. Don't you think I might make a good Tianshu?
Huh? Yelan, you want to be the next Tianshu?
I'm not opposed to the idea, but I suspect Ningguang wouldn't let you go very easy. So, how about this? If your investigation reveals that none of the other candidates are qualified for the...
Deal. Well, you guys take your time. Everything's all set for the assessments to go ahead. Meet me on the first floor when you're ready. Until then, have a pleasant conversation. Oh, and no need to pay for your tea. As the new owner of this fine establishment, this runs on the house. You're all set?
Uncle Tien seems really worn down. It's like all his energy's gone.
Yeah, it may sound harsh, but Uncle Tien is past his prime. He's not cut out for this anymore. So he's recommended 3 candidates. Their names are Qinwei, Mingbo, and Zhi. Qinwei is a wealthy entrepreneur. Mingbo works at the Liyue Ministry of Civil Affairs, and Zhi... Try to keep all that in mind. Of course, it doesn't really matter if you forget, since we'll be assessing them at Yuehai Pavilion in a
Qinwei, Mingbo, Zhi. Paimon should be able to remember their names, but what...
Let's leave that until we get to Yuehai Pavilion. All right. Heads in the game, people. The stakes don't get much higher than a change in the Qixing. We can't afford to miss anything, no matter how small.
Got it. We'll keep our eyes wide open.
My legs are getting sore. What is wrong with this assessment officer? This is a huge occasion and I've dealt with all kinds of people in my time, but never have I been made to stand while...
Oh,
That's called being complacent. If you're happy to just accept the way things...
Oh, come on. That's just... All right, you two. Let's not get into a big argument. Qianwei, that was a bit uncalled for. And Mingbo, cut him some slack. We've all been standing around for a while. It's natural to be getting irritable. Look, how about this? There's no rule saying we're obliged to stand up while we wait, so why don't we borrow some chairs from the guild nearby?
Fine. They're not the best quality chairs, to be sure. But under the circumstances, it would be better than nothing.
It looks like all 3 candidates have arrived. We'll meet them formally soon. Before that, let me run you through the assessment process. I've split it into 2 stages: current affairs and planning, and face-to-face interview. In the first stage, candidates are required to submit a manifesto for Liyue's development. In the second stage, we will ask them some questions in person. Writing a manifesto takes time, so I informed them of this requirement in advance. These are the reports they submitted.
Wow, one of them is really thick.
It's also worth mentioning a stipulation I gave them. Whoever is appointed as the new Tianshu will be expected to implement their plan as put forward in their manifesto. Failing the occurrence of some cataclysmic event, they will not be permitted to change their plan. Therefore, these 3 piles of documents in front of us represent where each candidate stands on key. There's still some time. Have a skim through, get a first impression of what each person's... I'll be waiting off to the side. Just let me know when you're done. Finished?
Almost.
Finished, huh?
Everyone took it very...
Of course they did. They have the chance to be picked as the new Tianshu, so you can bet their... And keep in mind, whoever gets in has to execute their plan as written. Nobody... That's for me to know and you to find out. We'll see the candidates now. Let's do one at a time. Start with Chenwei.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh? So you 2 are the assessment officers, are you? I had assumed that given the great import of this situation, Lady Ningguang would perhaps be assessing us in person. I trust you've read through my manifesto? I'd be more than happy to clarify any details you found difficult to grasp. It was written with an expert audience in mind after...
Mind your tone, mister.
Relax. It wasn't intended as a personal slight against anyone in particular. I was simply stating a cloud retainer. You know this Adeptus? Oh, yes, I remember now. You must be the traveler that people are constantly talking. With your sterling reputation, you must have a respectable level of erudition. Perhaps you will be able to understand the concepts I have put forward.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yes. Please, introduce yourself.
I'm, Mingbo. I work in the Ministry of Civil Affairs. I've worked there for, 9 years, 5 months, and 3 days. In that time, I've handled, 2,347 cases. I have 12 active cases at the moment. They should be concluded in, 16 days? My current work is related to urban planning, and I'm also responsible for, auditing the accounts. To be more precise, there are 3 parts to the accounts, namely...
Is it just Paimon, or is he not very good at public speaking?
You know what? Let's leave the self-introduction there and move on to some questions.
Oh, okay. Hello. Not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little nervous. What would you like to know? You're here to assess me, so ask away and I'll answer your questions to the best of my ability.
Your manifesto is very wide in its scope, but you don't seem to be personally involved in many of the specific fields. How can you be sure that you have the ability to put your plan into action?
Very fair question. I completely understand where you're coming from. But I'm confident in my plan. I've visited many different places, talked to lots of people with far more expertise than myself, and my manifesto is the conclusion of these efforts. Of course, two different problems can be interconnected in very complicated ways, and you might reach two very contradictory conclusions depending on which one you're focusing on. What I've tried to do is strike a balance. In other words, present an optimal solution to all the problems as a whole.
How do you plan to determine whether you are right or wrong about your proposed solution being the optimal one?
A great question. Well, I'd start by having my colleagues and the secretaries of the Yuehai Pavilion evaluate any proposals before implementation. Post-implementation, it would all come down to the results. If it turned out that my judgment was to blame for poor results, I would take responsibility.
Nice answer. All right, next question.
He seems like a great guy. Everything he said was thoughtful and logical, and he...
Here's my take on what we just learned. As you saw, Qianwei is highly knowledgeable. He proposes many excellent ideas in his manifesto which effectively target the big issues. But he is very proud and incredibly stubborn. He doesn't care much about other people's feelings. Mingbo's plan is more thorough and more measured. You can tell he's meticulous in his work, very deep. But he and Qianwei are otherwise polar opposites. Mingbo is not very articulate and comes across as very timid in conversation.
Perfect summary! Paimon couldn't agree more!
Last but not least, Zhi. His manifesto is full of pertinent details, his methodology is sound, and his proposals cover a broad range of fields. The depth he goes into in each and every area means it can only be a product of painstaking work. Plus, he is modest and good at dealing with people. But what really interests me is that many of his views happen to coincide with Uncle Tien's. Having someone like Zhi take the position would certainly put Uncle Tien's mind at rest.
Great!
We'll see. Let's go back and report to Uncle Tien.
I see.
All right, then let me ask this. The ideas in Zhi's manifesto are very similar to your own.
Oh, I didn't want to say anything when I gave you the list of candidates, for fear of affecting your judgment. But I can tell you now, those three candidates have all studied under me in the past. It's only natural that they share some similarities with me. But Qianwei went on to focus on his business, and Mingbo has always been occupied with his work at the Ministry of Civil Affairs. Of all of them, Zhi was with me for the longest.
Whoa! So how did you get to know them all, Uncle Tien?
Qianwei was referred to me by an old friend. Mingbo came to my attention in the course of my work. As for Zhi, we first met while fishing. Gradually, as we got to know, Zhi came from a poor family, and his parents died when he was very young. But he was a gifted student, and he reminded me of a younger version of myself. So I started out giving him a few words of advice when we were out fishing and noticed how quickly he got on. Quite. And now, all of a sudden, he's grown into a mature young man. The young are growing up, and I am growing old. How time flies.
I don't know, Uncle Tien. You still seem in pretty good shape to me. You might have another...
Oh, you. There's really no need to console me. Having less energy than I used to isn't such a bad thing. It just means I finally...
Sounds like you sure love fishing, Uncle.
Ooh, there's nothing quite like fishing to pass the time. Ooh, and freshly caught fish, they make the most beautiful...
Fresh fish soup.
Doesn't it? Also, some time ago, Zhi purchased a very... When we've been fishing recently, Jury always brings some extra ingredients he prepared in advance. That flavor makes for a fond memory. But at my age,
Oh, can Paimon come next time too?
Let's get back to the matter at hand. Uncle Tien, we've reported back.
I appointed you as the assessment officer. Had you not asked me why Jury's ideas were so similar to mine, I was not going to mention my history with any of them. This decision must be guided by what is fair and right. Please disregard all other consideration. Remember, you must be thorough.
Understood. Come on, let's go talk somewhere else.
Bye-bye, Uncle Tien. Look after yourself. So, it's gonna be his manifesto was written well.
Easy. Let's not rush. There's no time limit for this assessment.
Huh? So, are you gonna give them more tests or something?
No, nothing like that. The assessment itself is complete. But let me give you a word of advice. The biggest no-no in intelligence work is to only get information from the person of interest themselves. The truth is almost always hidden beneath many layers of deception. You have to get information through many... For example... Wenyuan, Shanghua.
Yes?
Lady Yelan, what are your orders?
Ugh! Who are they? Where did they come from?
Did they scare you? These two are Wenyuan and Shanghua. As my trusted assistants, they are always standing guard nearby. They also perform various assignments, as Shanghua is a business expert who gets his information by trading. Wenyuan relies on word of mouth. And there's also Upei, who's not here right now.
That meathead must have been out there on sea surveillance for some time now. Is he all right? I seem to remember that he can't swim.
Nothing can take that guy down. Certainly not a little wind.
Shanghua, visit all the commerce guilds and look into Qianwei's background. Wenyuan, go to the Ministry of Civil Affairs and look through Mingbo's work file.
Yes, ma'am.
So what about Juri?
Zhi, well, obviously as the most promising candidate. Let's go to the docks first. Lots of people passing through there. You could...
If we're looking for information, why don't we try talking to Borai, the owner of Wanyu Boutique? He does business at the North Wharf.
That's actually not a bad...
Doing here today?
Look, your asking price for this batch is just too high. I can't buy in.
Come on, hear me out. I'm telling you, this is the single best batch of Sunsettias ever. I accidentally dropped one into a well, and even the water turned sweet.
Even so...
All right. I'll let you in on a little secret. The boss of Second Life also wants to buy from me, but I haven't responded yet. If you won't take him, I'll just have to partner with them instead. And
Okay, well, when you put it that way, I'll accept your asking price. I'll take... Oh, what are you doing here? And to be clear, these Sunsettias are mine. I got to them first.
Actually, we want to ask you about a guy called Juri.
Juri? Yes, he's quite well known. I've heard a story about him. They say he was born into poverty. One of his neighbors was terribly rude to him all the time, but Juri never retaliated. And when his neighbor went bankrupt, he returned cruelty with kindness, injustice with peace offerings. A gentleman of talent and character, and... how...
Oh, he sounds like a decent man. We can find him.
Why are you asking about him anyway? You aren't looking for a brand ambassador too? Well then, in that case, the higher bidder takes the... that's Juri right over there.
Where?
It's him, all right. Looks like he's chatting with Linlong. Come on, let's follow them and listen in. Try not to let him see you. We want this information to be as truthful.
I'll just go and fetch an employment contract. And hey, don't try and cut me out of this.
I understand. Let's walk and talk. So, you were looking to buy a wineware set? Oh, now I can see that you're a connoisseur, so I won't bother trying to con you. I trust you understand our shop quite well?
The truth is, an old friend of mine, who likes to have a drink now and then, he fancies himself as a man of culture, but doesn't care for needless extravagance. So I thought I might buy him a set of high-quality fakes.
How very thoughtful of you. Leave it to me, then. Come and collect it at Shigu Antiques whenever is convenient.
Thank you very much, Miss Linlong.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Juri. These days, it's quite rare for someone of your standing to still keep up with their old friends. It's nice to see. I'll be sure to pick out a good set for you. You can count on me. Juri seems to get along really well with everyone. Are you satisfied now, Yelan? Seems like everyone thinks Juri's a great guy.
We shouldn't jump to conclusions just yet. Let's go check out the wharf where...
Do we have to? Wait, you're not just trying to dig up some dirt on Juri because you want to be Tianshu yourself.
Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not. But hey, if I do become Tianshu, I'll look out for you guys. You'll be able to try all the finest food for free. How does that sound?
We will? Well, come on! Off to the South Wharf we go!
The wharf is as busy as ever. I hear the anglers here sometimes sell their fish to the nearby fishmongers.
Welcome. What would you like to buy today?
Sorry to interrupt. We're actually members of the, We've heard about this young man called Juri, who's supposed to be a fantastic fisherman. Just wondering if you have...
Whoa! Yelan made up a whole fake identity without batting an eyelid!
Ah, yes, Juri. He's been making quite a name for himself recently. I've got some friends who travel all over the place, and they tell me everywhere they go they meet someone who's heard of him. Apparently, he had a rather tough time growing up. Had to work several jobs alongside his... How does that saying go? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Well, if there's anything to that logic...
Yeah, we think so too!
But I'm afraid your Anglers Association might be in for a
Oh? Why's that?
He's good at a lot of things, but fishing isn't one of them. He fishes at the wharf and sells what he catches to me on occasion. His catches are always mediocre. Not terrible, but equally nothing to write home about. If you're looking to recruit some new members, though,
That sounds fantastic. I've got a couple of other things to attend to right now, though, so... Why don't I come back some other time and we can chat over a drink?
Sure thing. See you.
Everywhere they go, they meet someone who's heard of him. Come on, let's keep asking around.
Here to buy some fish? It's 300 for one or 3 for 1,000. You better hurry when they're gone.
Hello, we're from the Society for Fish Price Research. We'd just like to ask a few questions.
Wow, she switched identity again!
Society for Fish Price Research? I haven't done anything illegal.
Please, don't worry. We're just here to conduct a simple survey. We've heard about a certain Juri who's been selling fresh fish at low prices in this area recently.
So this isn't about me. You should have said something, you know. I haven't heard anything about him selling fresh fish at low prices, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was him.
Oh? Why is that?
Because he's so poor. His parents died when he was very young, and his alcoholic father still owed a huge... He was still a kid when he first came to the wharf. His clothes were ragged, and he managed to survive, thanks to Uncle Tien, who gave him some food. But, I mean, he can afford to eat and everything, but you'll often see him haggling with others over just a few mora. So, I wouldn't be surprised to find out he's been... It's not like he catches much anyway, so it's not going to affect my business.
You'd rather he didn't know?
Well, I spoke to him once, briefly, and I just had a feeling that he really cares what other people think of him. I think he has pretty low self-esteem, but hey, it's hardly my place to say anything. What he's achieved already puts most people, and nobody's perfect. I just wouldn't want to upset him, that's all.
I see. Well,
Not a problem. And just for the record, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the price of my fish.
The more times you say it, the less convincing it becomes.
Doesn't have a lot of mora to his name.
Hey, it's you guys! Wait, what's the phrase? Oh, what brings you to me?
The truth is, we are but newcomers to this territory. We heard tell of a great martial artist, Master Dugu, who knows everything there is to know.
Really?
But of course, we also heard that Master Dugu is a kind and virtuous swordsman who never turns away anyone who comes.
Great! So what do you wish to know? Nothing happens on this street that I don't know about.
Now she's lying to a kid.
So, Master Dugu, have you heard of one by the name of Jur-E?
Sure have. You mean that guy that all the grown-ups are talking about these days? I've heard many tales of Juri. For example, probably because it's nothing that important. I prefer stories about sword-fighting heroes.
Oh, I can completely understand that. Then let me ask you this. Do you remember roughly when the grown-ups started talking about Juri?
Oh yeah, I know that. It was about 2 or 3 months ago. Before that, people always used to talk about Juri in a kind of nasty tone of voice. But 2 or 3 months ago, suddenly everyone started to like him. Sometimes he gives me candies, so I'm glad that people are starting to like him now.
Just as I thought.
Huh? What do you mean?
I mean, just as I thought, Master Dugu is indeed as kind and virtuous as the legends claim.
I'm not that great. Oh yeah, one other thing. These days, there's a lot of people I've never...
Oh, definitely.
Great! So next time I see them, I'll say hi. And I guess I can share some of my candies with them too.
Certainly. You can also tell my friend in Yenshang Tea House about what they're up to. I'm sure my friend would also like to say hi to them.
Thank you, ma'am!
You're welcome. Well then, fare thee well, Master Dugu.
Until we meet again.
Any of that sound strange to you?
Strange? What was strange about it? Juri seems to have a great reputation. Uncle Soon and Uncle Gab.
True. But the issue is, where did his sudden celebrity come?
Too good to be true? What do you mean?
So he returns cruelty with kindness and had to work to support his studies. These are the kinds of things that make someone well known in their hometown. But Uncle Soon said even his friends who travel far and wide hear about him wherever they go. That's a little over the top, if you ask me. Do you remember what Dugu Shuo said about Jur-E's stories? Clearly they left him with a good impression of the guy. But beyond that, he wasn't interested in the details. That plus, there's the fact that all this praise of Jur-E has only been happening within the last 2 or 3 months. His childhood, his studies, the thing with his neighbor. None of these are recent events. So why are these stories only going around now?
When you put it like that, it is kinda strange.
Of course, if that's all there was to it, I wouldn't look into it any further. Jur-E was born into a poor family. Paying people to get his stories out there is within the rules of the game as far as I'm concerned. The problem is, do you remember what Uncle Gao said about him? He's stayed poor his whole life. Everything he's earned, he's either spent on studying, traveling, or paying off debts. I don't think he has the mora to pay for a publicity campaign. Right. And that changes everything. It can mean a powerful faction is trying to gain influence over the Liu at Xixing. That's the worst-case scenario. But all too often, the most pessimistic speculation turns out to be closest to...
Someone's trying to gain influence over the Qixing? That sounds serious. What should we do? Even if we asked Jiri about it, surely there's no way he'd admit it.
First, we need to find out who's supporting him. Don't worry, I've got a plan. Remember the current affairs and planning stage of the assessment? Since the successful candidate is duty-bound to implement their plan after taking office, their manifesto tells us their stand. Whoever is secretly helping Jir-E must be seeking to benefit from his actions after his appointment. So, we should be able to find some hints in Jir-E's manifesto on who we're dealing with. Come on, let's get back to Yenshang Tea House. E's manifesto covers a huge range of topics. Looking for details that don't add up will be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. I'll divide the reports into 2 piles. You take one, I'll take the other. Officially, the assessment is already over, and I'll be expected to announce the results before long. So we have to get to the bottom of this as quickly...
Yikes! We better hurry!
Whatever else Uncle Tian might think of Jir-E, the fact remains that he's one of his... Any evidence he's left is not going to be immediately obvious. We'll have to look carefully and think critically.
Even though Yelan took half? Well, we gotta stop. Oh, this reading is giving time on a... let's take a break.
Looks like I'm the first one back, as usual.
Oh, hey! It's one of Yelan's little helpers, Shanghua! If you're back, that means you finished investigating Tianwei, right?
You betcha. I visited all the commerce guilds and gathered a wealth of information. Every time they asked me to leave, but I...
Don't drag this out. Just tell us your findings.
Yes, Lady Yelan. To summarize my findings, most people who've had interactions with Tianwei will start out complaining about how proud and arrogant he is, but then go on to give a generally positive. The young master of the Feiyun Commerce Guild said that Tianwei appears arrogant, but he's very scrupulous in the way he works. Once he signs a contract with somebody, he treats them fairly regardless of their background.
Who'd have thought?
Is it possible that his reputation is fake? Is there any way you can check the accounts of the businesses under his name?
In theory, that should be very difficult. But here's the thing. I asked around and found out that almost all of Tianwei's accounts, where he buys from and sells to, should be confidential business information, but he doesn't seem interested in protecting it at all. Tianwei often sees business opportunities that others don't, but once he's made enough mora off of it, it's like he gets sick of it and releases all of his trade secrets. It's like he wants people to know that they still can't beat him, even if he shares all of his secrets. The fact that someone like that can still make mora is pretty infuriating when you think about it.
What a strange guy. It's like he's not doing business to make mora.
To validate his theories. No wonder his manifesto contains so many insights. It's all the result of his first-hand experimentation.
I'm back! Huh? How come you're here?
Why do you think? Obviously, because I possess superior skills and am always one step ahead of the competition. Well,
You... Ugh, whatever. I'm not getting into an argument with you. If I hadn't had something else to take care of on the way, I would... Lady Yelan, I have finished investigating Mingbois.
Well, we're all...
The Ministry of Civil Affairs says that Mingbois struggles to get his words out when he gets nervous. But after a few days of getting to know him, you can pretty much have a normal conversation with him. On the whole, the feedback from the Ministry of Civil Affairs was...
In your opinion, was the Ministry of Civil Affairs' appraisal of Mingbo...
I don't believe so. Mingbo is someone who has slowly but surely earned the reputation he... According to Miss Yu, the Ministry often gets Mingbo to take a final look at projects before they're implemented. People feel much more confident in something if it has... Oh, and also, there was once someone in the Ministry who was lying and cheating to try to advance their career. Mingbo gave them the scolding of a lifetime. Apparently, he can be terrifying when he loses his temper.
Whoa, that's hard to imagine.
Like I said before, things are not always as they appear.
Ah, so that's what you meant by that. Paimon's starting to get it now.
Thank you both. You're free to go now. So, have you finished reading the manifesto?
We still have a bit left.
I can't see any immediate problems looking at the individual end. The only one that strikes me as a little unusual is the Qiangshu Pool has always been home to many secrets. Plus, Ajdaha once wrought havoc there. At some point, a rumor began to go around that there is great treasure buried beneath. A long time ago, with the approval of the Qixing, a mining team...
So, did they find any treasure?
None. The ruin was completely impenetrable. The only way they could have gotten through the solid rock would have been by blowing it open with us. The technology wasn't mature enough at that time, so the excavation project was shut down and the... Zhi-Yi's manifesto focuses on solving problems, and this treasure hunt seems extremely risky. Still, this one fact alone doesn't tell us much. Everyone wants to get their hands on the... Did you find anything?
Excavation? Project? Treasure? Did we read anything similar in our half? Oh yeah! Juri said the Blackcliff Forge workers should get right of first refusal if any...
Did he now? Well, that makes everything much clearer. So Juri wants the Blackcliff Forge to
Does that mean the Blackcliff Forge is Juri's secret supporter?
No, not likely. I've looked into the Blackcliff Forge before. They aren't involved with any powerful factions at present. They do possess some specialized explosives, but it would seem more trouble than it's worth to put so many resources into a risky... Still, since the clues are pointing toward the Blackcliff Forge, we should see where they lead.
Shenwei and Mingbo both turned out to be completely different than what we thought. What about Juri? Is there another side to him too? So...
Excuse me?
Just, stuff that...
Huh?
I don't think we're going to get anywhere asking questions like that.
What's this?
From the back, it looks like a ledger. But it seems they also use it as a site. We don't know who wrote it, but it's interesting, don't you think?
You think they're suspicious?
Yes. Look, it says right there, At this rate, by the time the Qingshu Pool redevelopment plan is ready to roll, that'll give them the chance to take a lot of liberties. They can copy any secret texts or steal any Imagine if we didn't suspect anything. By the time Juri recommends the Blackcliff Forge for the excavation project, at most we would... No red flags if all they did was change some key staff. And even if we decided to vet the staff individually, they'd have had more than enough time by then to come up with... That's the advantage of planning this far in advance. It was a clever move.
When you put it like that, it all makes sense. If we hadn't found this out, someone else would have stolen the treasure. So, who's really behind all this?
That's a question for the newcomers. But let's start with that worker over there for...
Excuse us. We want to ask you about the...
You want them to teach you? I gotta say, these newcomers are in tip-top shape. Fast learners, too. My only complaint is that they're always going out drinking at night. But they never let us join them. I guess they just need some time to adjust. I'm sure we'll get...
They go out drinking. This area isn't exactly renowned for the nightlife. I'm guessing it's a long trip to the nearest town.
You got that right. They tell me they go all the way back to Liu. It rained after work today, so they actually stuck around at the site for a while. But as soon as the rain stopped... Hey, you're only young once, right? I say, if they can hack it, let them at it.
Interesting. Let's go talk somewhere else. Looks like our hunch was on the Mora. These newcomers are drinking in Liyue Harbor, huh? Some cover story. I'll wager they've been going to intelligence. Good thing it rained today. It means they'll leave footprints. I doubt they'd give themselves away that easily, but let's follow them and try our luck.
Phew! We went that way! Hurry, we gotta catch up!
The footprints stop here. But, judging from the direction, I'm guessing their destination was that abandoned...
Huh?
Looks like we were too late. This has gotta be where the newcomers rendezvous with whoever they're working for. But, look at these ashes. Someone was burning documents not long before we arrived.
Could there be anything left? Maybe the wind could have blown the fire out before everything...
The odds of that are very slim. It's practically impossible. I've checked.
Why don't we wait for them back at the Black Cliff Forge? They've gotta go back there sooner or later.
We can't count on that. Clearly they were based here at one point, but it's mysteriously abandoned now. To me, that says that whoever's behind this has moved them somewhere else to throw our investigation off course.
Darn! Guess this is where a trail runs cold.
Make no mistake, the purpose of our trip wasn't to find any solid evidence. I smelled something peculiar the moment I came in. Those newcomers probably thought they'd be safe as long as they burned the letters. But what they failed to consider is that paper and ink from different regions produce different odors when they're burned.
Really? Paimon can't smell anything. Do you smell anything?
There is a certain place with a freezing cold climate where there's nothing but ice as far as the eye can see. Some wealthy people there put floral fragrance in their ink as a way of injecting a little romance into their writing. When that fragrant ink is burned, this is the exact odor that it leaves behind. Exactly. The evidence will soon be blown away by the wind, so it's nothing we can arrest anyone with. But it's all I need. Now I know who we're dealing with. I can plan our next move.
Lady Yelan! Oh, thank goodness I finally found you. I thought I'd never see you again.
Who are you?
Don't be alarmed. This is Upei. He's Wenyuan and Shanghua's colleague. I sent him to look into Zhiyi's regular contacts. Since Zhiyi likes fishing, Upei thought he might know some of the fishermen and sailors, so he took a boat out to sea to ask around. I left him a note at Yenshang Tea House telling him to look for me at Blackcliff Forge when he got back. If they're... So, what did you find out at sea?
Forgive my incompetence. I'm afraid I've come up empty-handed. I asked all the fishermen multiple times, but none of them had any interactions with Juri before. Then the waves got so choppy I ended up falling overboard. Fortunately, someone managed to drag me out. When I got back, I heard that you'd gone to Blackcliff Forge and might need backup, so I went straight there as fast as I could. Didn't even stop to change my clothes.
Well, Uncle Tien said that Juri once bought a recipe from one of the fishermen. Did you hear anything about that at all?
What? That's news to me. No, that's not possible. It's absolutely not possible. Lady Yelan, I'm telling you, I spoke to every single fisherman out there, and none of them mentioned anything about a recipe.
Interesting. Then I wonder how that even more wonderful fish soup came about.
Fish soup? What fish soup?
Nothing. Our priority right now is to find a way to get our hands on some solid evidence. Well, any suggestions? Not a bad idea. Upe, what do you think?
Honestly, I've already tried following Juri, but the guy's too cautious. Never meets with anyone suspicious.
Okay, so tailing's out.
No, we'll still need to tail him. But first, we need to do some groundwork.
Groundwork?
When you've worked in intelligence for a long time, you'll understand that no one can stay on high alert forever. Especially when he thinks he's about to win. Tomorrow morning, I'll announce his victory at Yuehai Pavilion. Take a guess what you think he'll do next. Be sure to arrive on time. You won't want to miss the show. It looks like we're all here. Well then, time for me to announce the result. I won't drone on about the importance of the Tianshu role. Suffice to say that Uncle Tien entrusted me with the monumentally important task of assessing the candidates. And now, it falls to me to give him a satisfactory...
All of us here know the score. Don't beat around the bush, just get on with it.
Qianwei has many pioneering ideas, but some of his plans are lacking in detail, and he easily gets into testy exchanges with other people. Mingbo is reliable, but not quite ambitious enough, and because of his personality, he struggles to win people over. In contrast, Juri is evenly balanced across the board and enjoys an excellent reputation in Liyue. After much consideration, I have decided to recommend Juri to the Liyue Qixing.
What?
Oh, congratulations. Thank you. Honestly, I'm a little surprised to hear my name being announced. In my estimation, all three of us are worthy candidates for the team. The possibility of working with me in the future and taking on some of my workload?
I'll have to see. I'm in a bad mood. This is the last thing I want to be thinking about right now.
I don't mind, as long as I can help.
Okay, well, that's all from me. Juri, you'll have some preparation to do. It won't be long before you're informed of your official appointment. I hope you will work hard and make Uncle Tien proud.
I will live up to the Tianshu name. On this, you have my word. I should go. I need to pack my things, and then I think a celebratory meal is in order. Would anyone like to join me?
Count me out. I'm not in the mood for a celebration.
Juri seems pretty relaxed now. This would be a good time to follow him.
Hey, Traveler, tell me something. What exactly does that guy have that I don't? If you can't answer that, I'm not accepting this result.
I, also wouldn't mind knowing.
Oh no, if we get stuck here, we won't be able to leave!
Follow him.
Yes, ma'am.
We finally got
Lady Yelan, Juri has gone towards Feiyun Slope.
Follow him, quickly.
So Juri really sided with the Fatui? But Uncle Tien thinks so highly of him. Why would he do this?
Difficult to say, but everything should become a lot clearer when we find him.
I'm sorry, Lady Yelan. We lost him. He's too good at this. We weren't able to keep following him without being
How the heck did he manage to shake Yelan? I guess Juri didn't let his guard down.
No, Upe says he's much more relaxed than usual. Maybe it's just how he's wired. Perceptive enough to sense.
But how?
Don't blame yourselves. Let's not forget he was trained by Uncle Tien himself. Evading detection is not an unusual skill for him. If I'd asked you to tail Uncle Tien, you'd have ended up at a dead end too. It's fine. So, where did you lose him?
Xinyue kiosk. He only went in briefly. Upe and I were watching outside the whole time. A few moments later, a man dressed in a completely different outfit came out. Upe had a feeling that it was him, but we couldn't get close enough to check without I figured that if we spooked him, it would undo what we've accomplished today so far. Another option would have been to arrest him there and then, but without any evidence, that would have been meaningless. So I stopped Upe, and I stayed here to wait for you while that meathead went to ask around in Xinyue kiosk.
Good work. The fish didn't take the bait, but that's okay. As long as he's still swimming around, we'll find a way to catch him eventually. The key is figuring out what he's Let's go to Xinyue kiosk.
Could you explain to me how that works? A guy like him comes in, changes his whole outfit right under your nose, and you don't even ask him about it?
Our customers are free to dress however they please. What?
Okay, fair enough, but didn't you think it was just a...
Well, maybe I did, but it still doesn't give me the right to stop him.
Enough. Let's tone this down a little. I'll make this quick. Just one question.
Oh, he didn't buy anything. He just picked up a bottle of liquor that he ordered.
A bottle of liquor?
Yes, a very strong kind. Fiery. This gentleman ordered it in person from us a long time ago. He was only here today to pick it up.
Liquor and wineware.
Where to?
Shigu Antiques. Hey, Miss Linlong. Sorry to bother you. Zhi ordered a wineware set. We're friends of his. He's been telling us how impressed he is with the quality, considering...
Sure. Which model are you looking?
We don't really know a whole lot about wineware. Let's just go with Zhi's choice.
Zhi picked up his set not long ago. As a quality imitation of an antique wineware set, it has the look and feel. Just so you're aware, we don't have many of this model left in stock. And now that Mr. Zhi has taken...
Don't worry. Price shouldn't be an issue. I'm sure we can work something out. But I'm just a little hazy on one thing. Did Zhi's wineware set include wine glasses?
For this set, the wine glasses are sold separately. Minimum purchase is 1 glass, maximum is 4. Mr. Zhi...
Okay. Thanks, Linlong. Seems there's a little more to buying wine.
Well, don't take too long. We could sell out any day now. All right, see you next time.
This is turning into a real headache.
I'd just like to point out that we have the self-professed Grandmaster of Fieldwork here.
It's not like you did any better.
My specialty is information trading, okay? I don't have the physical agility. What's your excuse?
Yelan, so has the plan failed? Oh, if we can't figure out where Jerry went, there's not much we can do. But
If so, it's no ordinary celebration.
what do you mean?
First of all, Zhi isn't much of a drinker. On some level, he hates alcohol because of what it did to his father. If he was just looking to celebrate by himself, he wouldn't spend his meager savings on an expensive bottle of alcohol. Let alone... No, this is a victory feast. Held in honor of Zhi's, whoever this person is clearly enjoys hard liquor and has a very high status. Hence the need for expensive-looking wine. Now, where might we find Fatui who match that description, I wonder?
Fatui officials. Should be either the...
Have both locations surrounded. Take as many people as you need.
Lady Yelan, is it time for us to make our move? If so, you can count me in.
Get with the program, would you? This is a covert surveillance operation. Zhi may be vigilant, but that doesn't mean the same is true for his drinking buddy. In which case, we don't need to change tactics. Just change who we're following.
Great idea! So we just need to find out who...
But Lady Yelan, if we get caught, this could become a major diplomatic incident.
I'm well aware, but don't you see? Zhi is gambling everything on this. If we really want to catch him, we're going to have to accept a little... Stick to your orders. And make sure we're covering all other bases too. Anywhere else Jur-E might be going. I want eyes on those locations.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't worry, Lady Yelan. Jur-E may be a slippery character, but we'll keep a close watch on the movements of all Fatui.
I'll be waiting for you at the tea house. If I'm guessing correctly, Fatui officials are likely to take action at night. Perfect timing. Wenyuan just sent word that the Fatui ambassador, Yusupov, just left the embassy.
Qingshu Pool? That's the place Jerry mentioned.
It looks like that's where they've arranged to meet. Since Qingshu Pool is always crawling with monsters. Most people wouldn't dream of going there.
Oh no, we gotta go get them!
Let's go. If my hunch is correct. There's been some work done on this place in the past, but it's a bit of a labyrinth inside. I can't guarantee we'll be safe. The workers left an emergency access route. If we can find it, Still, be ready to fight at any moment. Any resistance needs to be taken out quickly and quietly.
Don't worry, we're all professionals here. By the way, Yelan, where are your 3 little helpers at?
They have other things to take care of first. We couldn't afford to wait.
You guys see that? That's gotta be the Fatui ambassador here to meet. That must be the emergency access route. The water's gone down. Hey, look! Is that another way through?
The water's flowed into the groove, and now the statues have lit up. Okay, now we should be able to move the statues.
I can tell from the aroma that this is very fine liquor indeed. Come on, bottoms up. After you, of course.
Oh, sorry. That went down the wrong way. I've never drunk anything this strong before.
You'll get there. If you want to stay friends with us, you have to drink with us.
I'll do my best.
You're more of a lightweight than I thought. Already struggling after one glass? I thought you were made of sterner stuff. You certainly kept it together when you were poisoning your teacher's soup. Come on, another round. Less talking, more drinking.
Sure. You didn't leave me much of a choice, though, did you? Just the mention of poisoning sends shivers down my spine. I'm more timid than you realize. Every time I poisoned him, I had to hide away at home for a few days because
Look, I know it has not been easy for you, my friend. We appreciate all your hard work, but I have to say, you really are quite a genius at poisoning people. I mean, the poison we brought from Snezhnaya is as strong as this wine, but you found a way to turn it into an imperceptible, slow-acting poison and came up with the idea of delivering it through fish soup. What was it you said? Oh, yeah. You said the soup's fishy flavor neutralizes the pungency of the poison, and this process even makes...
It struck me one day when I was fishing. I'm lucky it did. Otherwise, I'm not sure I would have been able to fool Uncle Tien.
You have performed excellently. The Fatui will continue to provide the support you need to consolidate your position as Tien Shu. Of course, aside from Qingshu Pool, we also have some other requests for you, which we will inform you of in due course.
Don't worry. Whatever tasks you have for me, I will perform them diligently.
Did you hear that? It was poison! What a nasty guy! Seize him!
Hold on. Did you bring a camera? If not, you can use mine. This is quite a scene. We have to capture it for posterity.
Excellent liquor. We've, seen no progress on the diplomatic front, and everyone has been eyeing up the treasure, but soon, everything will be taken care of, and I can report back on a successful mission. I remember when I first saw you. I knew right away that you would make a good partner for us. Hey,
How could I forget? You said a lowly commoner like me could never be seen as a serious candidate for the Tianshu, no matter how. The only way is for you to shine bright in the Tianshu's darkest moment.
Yes, under normal circumstances, the gap between you and other people. Just look at your two competitors. Qianwei had wealth. Mingbo had reputation. And that's why I decided to help you. You know, there's an old saying in the Fatui. Give a starving dog a bone, and it'll guard your home for the...
Yes. I cannot thank you enough for your...
You know, the best thing about you is that you do as you're told without complaining. Hey, keep up the good work. Heck, when you're not in the company of the Fatui, you'll be able to throw your weight around.
Uncle Gao said that Jur-E has low self-esteem. Seems he was right. He was worried that whatever advantage he might have now will diminish over time. Do you have any more film in the camera? Then get ready to use it. Tonight's grand finale should be coming up any minute now. How well this goes for us depends on how Jur-E plays his hand.
Ooh, is there any more alcohol? Go on. Fill me up. I'm in a good mood today, and I'm gonna drink my fill. Make sure to get me home.
There's only a little left. Here, I'll fill your glass. If you like it, I can bring you some...
Whoa, this is the good stuff. Huh? Jur-E, you poisoned my wine?
You seem surprised, Mr. Yusupov.
How could you?
How could I not? I've sacrificed years of my life studying and reflecting to prepare myself for this position. You really think I'd put myself through all that just to become your little puppet? I don't want to...
You imbecile. It's the Fatui who got you to where you are. Do you understand? If I disappear with no explanation...
Do you see the haystack in the corner? Underneath it is a pile of explosives. And next door in the dark room are the 3 undercover agents you sent to infiltrate the... I'm gonna stay here till I see you slip into unconsciousness. Then I'm gonna set this on fire. Once the flames burn through the hay, they'll ignite the explosives, the ruins will collapse, and everything will be buried.
What?
I took the liberty of leaving some evidence of your contact with the undercover agents at the Black Cliff Forge. It won't take long for people to join the dots. The Fatui planted undercover agents in the Black Cliff Forge to steal their signature ruin-grade explosives. Their plan was to blow through the but things didn't quite go to plan. Mistakes were made. Faced with the overwhelming evidence, the embassy won't investigate this any further. In fact, they'll be only too happy to blame it all. It explains why you acted alone, while exonerating the rest of the embassy of any lie. Of course, none of that will have anything to do with me. When all of this comes to my attention, I'm afraid I'll have no choice but to cancel the Qingshu Pool redevelopment plan immediately. I guess then, I'll be Tianshu in my own right, with a clean...
Jur-E, do you really think you're gonna get away with this? The Fatui has a record of everything. That includes the poison. After I die, they'll come looking, and they'll get to the bottom of this.
A record? Oh, you must mean the one in the hands of your second-in-command, Theophan?
What? How?
Because when you contacted me, I also made contact with your associates. I have Theophan to thank for providing me with the poison I used on you today. He'll help me tie up all the loose ends. After all, he has been eyeing your position for a...
That traitor!
Shh, 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 shh. Relax. It's over. After tonight, everyone gets what they want. And anyone else in the know is either my accomplice or about to be taken out of the sweet dreams, Mr. Yusupov.
I did a little surveying on the way here and found that you'd left yourself 3 escape routes in case things went south. I have them all surrounded. If you're thinking of trying anything, save yourself the effort. We were here the whole time and have pictures of everything. They came out pretty nicely. Want to see them?
The game's up? Forgive me, I'm not quite sure what you're referring. I happened to discover a Fatui operation here, so I approached them on the pretext of joining forces and eventually brought them down from within. If it pleases you, Miss Yelan, I'd be only too—
This is how you want to play it, huh? Fine. You do you. All we need to do to convict you is establish that the poison in his system is the Nothing else you wanted to add? Let's leave it there then. Time to—
One wrong move and it all comes crashing down. I should have— You followed him here, didn't you? I was so focused on keeping myself out of sight, I forgot he was a potential liability. Let's talk about this, Yelan. I gave you my word that I would live up to the Tianshu name.
Your point being?
When I take office, I can guarantee that I will act in your best interests. In fact, all of you here tonight can expect very generous treatment. I don't deny that I used underhanded methods to get here. But given my lowly origins, what a—
You still don't get it, do you? Even— What do you think? Exactly. Jur-E, clever people can always come up with a good excuse. But while you might be able to get other people to believe you, you'll never be able to deceive yourself. There's nothing wrong with wanting to win other people's respect, but when has Uncle Tien ever looked down on you? He was like a teacher and a father to you, but you chose to repay that by poisoning him.
That's enough.
Of course. What makes this even crueler is that you managed to convince yourself there was no other way. Uncle Tien was always— Out of everyone in the world, he is the one who trusts you the most. So much that he drank your fish soup without doubting you, not—
That's enough!
Life is like fishing. It cannot be rushed. Whatever you do, impatience will accomplish nothing. I was just like you once, desperate to prove myself. Only later did I realize things do not always turn out the way you plan. But you have to keep calm to carry on. You're still young. Be patient, believe in yourself, and don't look outside yourself to prove your value. Where's Jur-E these days? It's been a long time since he last paid me a visit.
Maybe he's just busy.
Well, next time, if he doesn't bring a pot of piping hot fish soup, don't let him in.
Whatever you were thinking about, you'll have plenty of time to mull it over in prison. Oh, I almost forgot. If the Fatui find out what happened today, prison might not turn out to be the safest place for you. Trying to have friends on both sides, it has a way of turning everyone against you. But right now, I have an opportunity for you.
Huh?
Sorry, things are about to get extremely busy for me. Let's meet at Yanshang Tea House tomorrow morning. I'll have someone remove the explosives. Then, there's someone I have to go and see.
Need our help with that?
No, it could be dangerous. You should leave this one. Don't worry. As long as they're willing to cooperate, get some rest. See you tomorrow.
There is now no poison left in his system. but recovery from the damage already...
Dr. Baishu, is my father going to...
You needn't worry too much. Keep taking the prescribed medicine every... It's good we caught it in time. A few days later and the toxin would have built up in the
How did they successfully secure such a seldom-seen poison? Unfortunately for them, they were...
Uncle Tien will be heading off now. Remember to get plenty of rest and avoid overexert...
Don't worry, I will. Thank you very much. Ah, you're here too? Thank you for... Yes, the exhaustions.
Luckily, it looks like choosing the Tianshu's successor is suddenly not such a...
Hey, Yelan!
My work is mostly wrapped up, so I thought I'd take a minute to check in here. The assessment process comes to an end here. Don't underestimate Uncle Tien. He wouldn't have... Normally, the Yue High Pavilion would be responsible for assessing the camp.
Yes, to be quite honest, I wanted to trust him when I first met Juri, I wondered if he had approached me with a... I concluded that he had no ulterior motives whatsoever. In the end, even he changed. But I never had any plans to recommend him directly, but I always intended to give him the chance to compete on a level playing field. Family, I had no reputation to speak of when I first became Tianshu. I relied on Ganyu's assistance for all manner of things.
I have to admit, he's a smart guy, and very... The intel suggests that the Fatui saw him as very low risk, but Jur-E was still extremely careful with the poisoning. He chose that specific liquor from Xinyue Kiosk because the fiery flavor would mask the bitterness of the poison, and he chose to wait until the Fatui official was drunk and had his guard down before delivering it to him. He also installed a secret compartment in the wine pot he bought to hold the poison. As the amount of liquor went down, he'd shake the pot to release the poison from the compartment into the liquor. Afterwards, we also found he had an antidote on him. Had the Fatui official grown suspicious, Jur-E would have drunk the poisoned wine himself, and then found an opportunity to take the antidote shortly afterwards.
But that's still really dangerous.
Yes, had he drunk the poisonous wine, he still would have faced serious health consequences despite taking the antidote. He didn't hesitate to put himself in harm's way.
How is Juri now?
Well, I mean, he is sitting in a jail cell. Like Yanfei says, everyone... Still.
A deal? Does this have to do with what you said to him when you arrested him?
Yes, Jur-E's not the one I'm interested in. If he was as far as this went, I'd have handed the case off to my subordinates as soon as I realized. But once the Fatui became involved, things got a whole lot more interesting.
Well, did you?
Almost. Unfortunately, it slipped off the hook at the last second.
Uncle Tien? Yelan? What are you talking about? Paimon doesn't understand.
Jur-E colluded with the Fatui to try and secure the position of Tianshu. Or, to put it the other way around, with Yusupov in our hands and a statement from Jur-E, we could afford to continue with the diplomatic offense. Also, we'd be able to gain control of Theophan, Yusupov's second-in-command. Then we'd have a pawn in the ranks of the Fatui. Pawns like this can be major assets. They open up all sorts of new options. Why else did you think I was investing so much time and effort into this case?
So, okay, well, did your plans...
We got halfway. The first part went off without a hitch, and we passed all the information on to Lady Ningguang. But when we tried to make contact with Theophan, he was gone.
The Fatui must be spying on us. Otherwise, they'd never been able to respond so quick.
I found out from other sources that the Harbinger, Regrator, got involved. The Fatui's main forces aren't concentrated here. Regrator was only treating this as a peripheral concern. It's a pity that Theophan got away. But knowing which Harbingers are still looking at Liyue is something. It gives me a starting point for my next mission.
I have to ask, Yelan, do you have any desire to... I remember you showed some interest a few days ago at Yenshang Tea House. And Maya's...
Oh, that. I was obviously I prefer my current life. There's danger and there's excitement. Although it'd still be a behind-the-scenes role. As Tianshu, I wouldn't have the chance to get involved in anything truly clandestine or face any real danger. Alright, I'm done here. Time for me to go. I'm heading off again in a few days, and I still have to prepare.
Where are you off to this time?
As you might have guessed. But I'm sure if you keep going as you are, getting yourselves involved in other people's business all the... Maybe I'll see you the next time danger beckons. Until then, keep your wits about you. A lot of people are If you have any more questions, just ask Uncle Tien. After the
What would you like to know? Something I've said to Jury. Jury and Ambassador Yusupov each scheming is an end. Everyone has self-interest. What would you like to know? I first met Yelan when she was very young. An old friend of mine once privately commented to me that Yelan is something of an exaggeration in my view. At least, I know What would you like to know? Regrator is the 9th of the Fatui Harbingers. However, his wealth is not a mere question of how much more he has to his... Beyond that, I don't have a lot of info. What would you like to know? As Yelan says, now that I'm up during this time... that reminds me. What would you like to know? Thanks to you, you can always find me at...